Hello everybody and welcome back to some more FoolCraft 3. In today's episode, I want to take a little bit of a break from our regular sort of, progression in mods thing with the, ore doubling, ore processing, power production using canola oil, and food generation with the toast and trivection chamber and that sort of stuff. And I wanted to just take an episode for us to actually have a look at this village, because the way this village has generated is a little bit awkward. It is currently sat on two hills in between a river with a ravine right next to it, which has meant the generation of it is a little bit staggered. We've got, some very low down buildings, some very high up buildings that the paths haven't generated to. The main one being this one here, and a lot of this stuff was covered as well, like this canola seeds over here were all covered up and everything. So I wanted to just take a beginning part of this episode just to take, I've made an obsidian shovel. It has 8,000 durability. I wanted to just sort of make this area a little bit more friendly in terms of getting around it. I was thinking about maybe making a bridge there. I just need a good design that I like. But yeah, I just want to take a little bit of time to make this place a little bit more inhabitable. Maybe move a few buildings down, move the paths so they obviously look a little bit nicer and we can kind of move up them a little bit easier. And I was also planning at the end, I'm currently sort of investigating into the best way of doing it, because the way I normally would do it isn't in this mod pack. I want to get more villagers, because right now something has happened that meant, I assume zombies, which means we have only 3 villagers. They are all farmer villagers, as in they will all brown coats, so they will harvest stuff. However, 2 of them are fishermen, which I think this is one of them. Yep, 2 of them are fishermen, and I think this guy, wherever he is in here, is a fisherman, and this guy over here is a shepherd. So we've got, 3 brown coat villagers, which is fine for harvesting, but it means I can't really transfer, wheat and carrots and potatoes into diamonds via emeralds and the philosopher's stone, and then I can't make iron as easily and gold from that. So we're kind of at a loss slightly because of that. So I want to find a way. I have one plan, but I'm not sure if it'll work right now. I'm having to do a bit more research into it. But yeah, I want to make more villagers so that we can not only just have more villagers, have more potential trades, because I want the guy from here back, because I think he had some interesting trades to do with actually additions. But it will also just allow us to get more stuff, and maybe we can get cool stuff from the blacksmith, maybe some enchantments and stuff. But yeah, first part of this episode is mainly just going to be making this village look a little bit nicer and function a little bit better. So yeah, we're gonna get on with that, and I'll see you in a little while once this is all done, and hopefully I have a better idea of how I'm gonna fix the villager issue as well. Okay, so about 2.5 hours later, and we are finally 99% finished with this. There are only 2 buildings in the village which I have not moved, and I will quickly show you which of those 2 are. Luckily, they are right outside this door. We have this one right here opposite our base of operations at the moment, and the house we are currently settling in for the moment. The reason for this one, at least, is because I'm actually thinking about moving this one. I've now got a lot of space over here, considering I got rid of the 2, I think it was 2 layers of hill that were here. I can either replace that hill maybe and make this come out here, or I can maybe move this house over here or build something else over here. So I'm thinking of either getting rid of this completely or moving it to this direction, just because it's going to be a bit awkward on the descending bit of hill here. And for this one, the reason I'm mainly worried about this is because this was a pre-generated house. Obviously we didn't create this, and what I found out in like my my original testing ones, where I found like a village one time, is if you destroy a generated item or block that was part of actually addition. So for example, this atomic reconstructor or this NG laser relay, if we were to destroy this block, it will not drop. It will just say something along the lines of it was too fragile and it got destroyed when you broke it. Now, if we make it like the oil generator will be fine. We can destroy that right now and it will drop. However, if we were to destroy this coal generator or this relay or this atomic reconstructor, it will get destroyed and we won't get it back. So I don't want to have to go through the hassle of setting up and remaking all these things. And there are a few items here that are actually really useful I don't want to destroy. Like this greenhouse glass, it speeds up the growth rate, or as far as I'm aware, it speeds up the growth rate of any crops underneath it if it's visible to the sky. That's actually additions. I don't want to destroy it because it's relatively easy to make, but it's nice to have. So for now, this one's staying here and this one might be being destroyed. If anything, it might just be nice for the books. But I'm happy where it is. I've made it so it kind of works. It's got a 3 wide instead of just the 2 wide I originally had. So yeah, it kind of works nicely, and I'm okay with it being where it is for the moment. Now, as you can see, it's looking a lot flatter. I've kind of done what I can, but like, it's generally on one level until it goes down to this area here, where I've just kind of got rid of that middle hill that was here. I've kind of pushed this back a little bit, brought this one down, and I personally think it looks really nice, and I've added all these wooden slabs. I've actually added a few more bits of pathway. So this pathway wasn't originally here, but I did get rid of this pathway. I could actually replace this because you know, that one's still over there, and I was planning to actually move this farmland over. I've also moved a few of the farmlands over a few blocks. What I'm actually thinking of doing is if I can get the replay mod working, I was having a few issues with it, but if I can get that working, maybe just doing a flyover and having a before and after, that might be interesting. I might just have to regenerate the world, but that shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, I've got a few of these farms. I just haven't really populated them yet. I've got these 2 here are going to be carrots, these 2 here are potatoes, this one, and I really like what I've done here, this bit down here, because of the way the hill was. I didn't like it just being a flat face here. But these are both wheat. I've got flax in this middle one here. I just only had 3 flax seeds, and some canola in this one, in one of the larger ones. So I'm just picking these up for the moment and turning the canola into seeds, and they're just replanting like that. But yeah, I like what I've done with what I've got. I'm not generally a big terraformer, or you know, I'm not very a massive person for changing villages up. But I think with what I've got, I've done quite well. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that this is obviously the way it is, but I am working on it. As you may be able to see from the map, we no longer have any villagers in the village anymore. So that actually completely ruins my plan, because my plan that I had worked out before they had all died was I was going to use something called a mod called RF Tools. I was going to get a syringe, and then you attack a villager to get its blood. You then have to put that in a spawner. You then, I think for the villagers, had to get a book, 5 dirt, and some living mass, which is just essentially like wheat, I think was one of the better ones. And that would spawn them for like 2,000 RF, or it might have been 8,000 RF, one of the two. Unfortunately, we don't have any villagers to do that with. I wish I just did it at the beginning when I had thought of the idea, but I didn't know like if I was going to have everything I needed. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to do one of 2 things. I'm either going to have to find a zombie villager and cure it, which means we're going to have to get blaze rods, which is going to be a hassle, or we can find another village and use that to our advantage. But I'm not sure. For now, though, I want to just focus on the canola seeds, because obviously canola oil is what we are currently using to set this up. So right now we've got this 4 wide set of these. I was originally thinking about having just a proper 9x9, but I've got to think of how that would work. I could probably adapt this. Oh, I can actually do that perfectly. The plan is then to have a 9x9 area of canola seeds, and then that will be enough for a growth crystal to work within its radius. Also a farming station with a second tier, a double layer capacitor in it, will do 11x11, so it can then hold all those. And then we can also make a few other things. So what I want to do is I've got dirt, I've got oak wood, I've got a hoe. I guess I'll just make this quickly. So the 9x9 has been built. We're just waiting for more of these to grow so we can just turn the canola into seeds. In fact, this actually might turn out to be enough. But we have a use for something we made a little while back now, which is a tier 1 growth crystal. Now, It's not the best because a tier 1 growth crystal, if we look it up quickly, can only, well, it checks up to 9x9, which is what we've made, up to 2 blocks up or down, but it has slow growth. Now, if you go to the next tier, it's got fast growth, and then after that, it's fastest growth. But you can see from these two, they check higher blocks, but they can also be used as a water source. Unfortunately, the first tier cannot be used as a water source, so we're going to put it over this water source. It's going to check in a 9x9 area and slowly just increase the tick rate of them. But not by much, but enough to possibly notice a difference. We will have to see, but I guess any increase is a good increase, so that's always good. And we're also out at night because I'm waiting for a zombie villagers to show up so I can hopefully kind of capture it and hopefully cure it as well. So the next plan to increase growth in here would either be one of two things. Either increasing the growth crystals tier, which would be to tier 2. We could then use it as a water source. Or another way as well, which actually uses RF or crystal flux, is this thing over here called a ring of growth. It has 1,000,000 crystal flux buffer, and it can, you basically shift right click and it will then, you know, apply bone meal around you. The way to make it is somewhat simple on the surface of things. You have 4 seeds, a ring, which is just a glowstone dust, 4 gold and 4 iron. But unfortunately, it requires a empowered Inori crystal. Regular Inori crystals are just iron with a atomic reconstructor, but an empowered one requires, would you guess it, an empowerer, a snowball, grey dye, cobblestone, a button, and an Inori crystal. So we'll need 4 of those in total in order to make this. So we'd have to make an empowerer, which then leads on to redstone crystal, double batteries, iron casings, a display stand, which then leads on to a few other things. So I think we'll leave that for another day because it's going to be useful, but unfortunately at the moment not really something we can sort of have straight away. Also, we're probably going to have to wait for this stuff to grow, so we can just maybe set up a little bit more of an automated canola situation. Not necessarily a fully automated situation at the moment, but a case of if we can harvest this manually, bringing the canola over, having the canola go into a fermenting barrel. We could probably even set that up over here, a fermenting barrel station, probably over here since we have a bit of extra space. We could have a canola and canola seeds in a barrel or in a drawer. We can have that going into a few fermenting barrels and then maybe them going into tanks. And then we can transfer the tanks over to our oil generator for the moment, just so we don't have to do a lot of fluid cabling, just as a semi-regular or semi-automatic rather situation where we're bringing the stuff over, but behind the scenes it's pretty much doing its job for us. And then farming station will go here eventually when we get a tier 2 crystal. That'll go beneath there. The reason that's going to take a while is nether stars and potions of swiftness. Obviously, nether stars are going to take a little while. We can also come over here and break stuff apparently, but we can also sort of grow, make everything grow quicker. But it's basically just an increase in you know, the amount of canola we're getting compared to, I think we had like 1 or 2 canola things. And a very interesting thing, and kind of well, not interesting, but kind of good that the villagers are gone. These all got replaced with wheat, and the reason that happens is because villagers cannot internally hold the seeds of any of like the flax or the canola. They only hold the wheat, carrot, potato, and beetroot, which we don't even have. So yeah, it's kind of a case of a good thing the villagers are gone somewhat, but when they do come back, eventually we'll just have to guard this off because they are going to try and replant stuff over here, which is going to cause a few issues. But enough of that for me. This has taken a lot of time, but I think it's definitely worth it. I'm going to work out what I want to do with those, try and find out if there's any way I can make beetroot maybe with the Philosopher's Stone. Is that possible? If we can, we'll set up a farm for the beetroot, probably up on this one, move the flax somewhere else. So we have doubles. No, we can't. We can't even change those. So unless we can change the very lowest growth. No, we cannot. So we'll have to find beetroot some other way. But yeah, I'm going to carry on doing this, work out what I'm doing with this one, and maybe either think about possibly also moving this one over here. Maybe if I get rid of this, I can bring this one over here, or getting rid of both, moving and building a proper base over here. But I've also got a few other plans that require just some ender pearls and stuff. which is more related to the mine, which, speaking of the mine, I haven't really done anything with it. I'm basically, the plan is to have a path over here and then a way of getting down over here, but that is for another episode when I get the resources, because right now we don't, because I've been sleeping through most of the nights, which means I don't get ender pearls, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get the replay mod working. If not, maybe I'll just do a manual flyover with this world, and I'm gonna recreate it and see if I can get a world with basically the same, you know, sometimes, like, let's say this won't spawn here, it'll be that building maybe, or that won't spawn there and it'll be a different one. But I'll see what I can get done, and just give you a general gist of what it looked like before, what it looks like now, and how much I think it personally looks quite a lot better, even though we've only just sort of moved stuff up and down and gotten rid of stuff. But yeah, next episode we're gonna get back on track with proper progress things. I just wanted to take a little bit of a break to address some of the problems we had, and we've actually brought up another problem with us: no villagers. So enough of me babbling. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.